Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central Channel. It is the In Wheel Time car talk show.
What?
Coming up, Buzz Smith on EVs and hot weather. Conrad has This Week in Auto History, and we'll get you caught up on the stories making car news this week. Howdy, along with Mike out of This World Mars, back from his COVID vacation. King Conrad DeLong. We always need more Jeff Zeke, and I'm Don Armstrong. So glad that you joined us on this hot weekend. And it just keeps on coming. Although there is some hope and change on the horizon.
Hope and change.
Because we have a front coming through.
It's going to be in the 90s.
Listen, if it goes down 1 degree, it's a cold front.
That's right.
All right? That's coming on Monday.
Hey, you know what time it is?
Howdy doody time.
It's time to catch a buzz.
It is time to catch a buzz, so why don't we do that right now? Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the EVangelist, Buzz Smith. Buzz, good morning.
Good morning, Don. Hey, guys. How's it going?
He's teasing us with the wet flag.
I know. What is the wet flag? You're going to get the rain before we do, I think.
No, that's not rain. That's sweat.
Those are tears of an EV owner.
That's.
Oh, here we go.
There we go. No,
It's early. It's early.
That's not why we got in touch with you, because we wanted to talk about it's a heat wave. What does the heat do to your EV?
Well, it doubles the range that you get normally.
Yeah. Minus.
Nice try.
In the minus category, I think is what you're going to say.
No, a warmer battery is a more efficient battery. So, yeah, it does increase range. Cold temperature decreases ranges on an EV.
So what does the heat do to your EV? Besides, I mean, it's got fans in it. It's got coolant in it. It's got things in it that try to keep the heat down.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have does it have a temperature gauge in it?
Well, yeah. Let's have a little perspective, though. When you run the air conditioning in your big SUV, guess what? It impacts your mileage. Now, it does impact EVs more. And my car right now, which I got in early 2016, so the battery's about, let's see, I got to do some math real quick.
7 years.
7.5 years old. I'm experiencing about a 30% drop from the EPA stated range. So the 30%, part of that is probably age of the battery. I may have lost around 5% of total capacity of the battery over time, but I charge mine in the heat outdoors all the time. So that's part of my issue. But hot temperatures.
Wait a minute. Well, we stop right there. Well, why is that the issue or part of the issue?
Well, I should wait until later at night to charge the battery when it's cooler, because charging the battery
creates heat. Yeah.
And so it's a good idea to charge when it's colder. I'm lazy. I have solar panels on my roof, so the electricity's free when the sun is up. So my rule of thumb is if it's in my driveway, it's plugged in.
Gotcha.
So my car is usually finished charging during the hottest parts of the day. So I'm probably much rougher on my battery than the average person.
So you had said just a few seconds ago that you've lost 5% of the performance of your battery over time.
Just because of age.
I know on my iPhone, that's something I can go in and look at, is the battery's performance. Is there a way in, say, the ALDL connector in the computer built into the car to look at the battery performance level, not the charge level, but its ability to perform? Is that a measurable scale that's built into the system you can see?
It depends on the brand of the vehicle. The Nissan Leaf was really good about that. The first generation, I'm not sure about the new one, but it would actually I am sure about the new one because a friend of mine experienced this. It actually would not show it charging all the way back up again. There would be missing bars of charge when the car would come back and say it was fully charged. So you could actually see that. Now, to see it, say, in a Chevrolet vehicle, you'd have to have diagnostics run on your battery at the dealership. I don't know of any way to see it in my car other than what I'm seeing is that my range has decreased when the vehicle's fully charged. Now, part of that is my foot is on the bottom of the floorboard all the time. I love EV acceleration, so I'm much harder on range than the average EV driver who's really focused on hypermiling. I don't care about hypermiling. I care about acceleration.
Well, plus, in Texas, 105 degrees outside, your air conditioning is also creating a drain because the system's running the compressor all the time.
Yep. And up here, it was 108 yesterday. So they say it's a dry heat, but that's a load of crap. It's an oven for dry heat too,
Yeah. Well, so what Mars sends me some stuff that, that you might want to talk about. And I'm thinking, well, he wants to talk about it. Here's your pedestal, sir. Go for it.
Okay. Well, hot temperatures are hard on electric vehicle batteries, and that can actually shorten their driving range permanently if you don't take some precautions.
What are the precautions?
Here we go. EVs have systems to prevent this, and you can help your EV. Some of these systems are the same as they are on traditional internal combustion engines or ICE vehicles like water pumps, radiators, and fans. And Don, you touched on that just a minute ago. It is surprising for most new EV drivers to hear their vehicle make sounds even when it's turned off. And that's the EV protecting its battery. It does this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's monitoring the battery and the ambient temperature around it. So whether the car is turned on or off, if it gets too hot, it may turn on fans and or a water pump to cool the battery. It may even, in the case of my car, turn on the air conditioner because the air conditioner can cool down the battery as well. If it gets too cold in the winter, it may warm the battery using an electric heater. Now, unlike a traditional ICE vehicle, the engine or motor does not need to be running to run the water pump, fan, and heater, as they're not mechanically attached to the non-existent crankshaft because they're electric, and they don't need the engine to be running to heat up the water. They use a heater. So that's where you can help. If you have the ability to plug in your EV at home, plug it in like I do anytime it's parked. Electric fans and water pumps use electricity. The EV uses electricity to move down the road. Duh. But if your EV is plugged in, where's it going to get that electricity? Well, it's going to get it from the battery pack. In other words, you'll lose some driving range if it needs to run the heater or the air conditioner when it's just sitting on the driveway.
Now, Buzz, so Apple says if you leave your iPhone plugged in all the time on the battery, charging all the time, that you can actually decrease the life of your battery. Mm-hmm. So are you saying that since the system, cooling, heating, whatever, is actually, I guess, cycling power in and out of the battery?
Would that be preventative maintenance?
Yeah, I guess, maybe.
No, the cars actually make sure that the amperage or voltage coming into the car is within an acceptable range. So the charger on the wall and the car talk to each other. That's why an EV driver on the road doesn't have to worry if the charger is a 350 kilowatt charger or just a 50 kilowatt charger. Once these two devices talk to each other, the charger will reduce, if necessary, the rate of charge to protect the battery.
So it's kind of like the video that's out now. The car goes, "Hey, what's your name?" No, I'm sorry.
Well, actually, that's an interesting comment, because when you plug your Tesla in, Tesla is able to tell who you are to charge your account for the charge. So
kind of like having an IP type address or something on that car. They know that car.
Exactly. So in the future, we're not going to have to, use a credit card or even our smartphones to pay for an electric charge when we're on the road, which makes it much more secure. There's scammers out there that put card readers on gas pumps, and they get your card information. If you're using a debit card and you plug in your PIN, they've got your card number and your PIN. So it's actually more insecure to buy gasoline than it is today to buy electricity for your car.
So if I borrow your Tesla and decide I want to go to California in it, I can send all the bills to you.
Well, Tesla would send all the bills to me, and I'd come hunting for you.
So another thing you mentioned a few minutes ago was the life cycle of the battery has decreased. Now that EVs have been out for a period of time, is there a determined life cycle by brand? You mentioned the Nissan Leaf. I think you drive a Chevy Bolt. Is that correct?
Volt, Victor, rather than Bolt. Bravo.
Oh, so yours is the hybrid.
Yes, mine's a plug-in electric hybrid. I am actually, there's a whole bunch of new EVs coming out. My next one will be 100% EV, but I'm specifically looking at two vehicles that haven't come to the U.S. yet or gone into production yet. One of those is the Canoo lifestyle vehicle. The other one is the Volkswagen ID Buzz. I'm absolutely in love with that car. It's reminiscent of the old hippie van from the 60s that Volkswagen put out, and it will be available in the United States next year in a 3-row version. I don't care about the back seats at all. I want to go and do camping with my wife. So we are going to basically gut the back of the car and turn it into a camper. And just today, I saw this really cool kit that you can put into the car, and it gives you a raised bed platform and then these slide out drawers to put all your camping equipment underneath that.
Your underwear.
Yeah, and if I arrive at the camping site and it's pouring down rain or it's too cold or too hot, guess what? I just camp in the car overnight, let the air conditioner run all night long, because like my Volt, in the hottest days, if I'm blasting the AC, it's only using 1/2 to 1 kilowatt kilowatt hour. So even with the little battery that's in a Volt, I can run that thing almost 36 hours before I would run out of electricity. In the new cars that have 66 kilowatt hour battery packs or larger, you could run for 4 or 5 days, the air conditioner at full blast and not have a problem.
Now, Buzz, you talked about the Volkswagen looking bus. I've seen that also on the internet. And of course, the Canoo, they're both Japanese vehicles, but the Canoo, is that being built in California?
The Canoo is actually going to be manufactured at a new factory they built in Oklahoma City. I've seen videos recently of the robotics lines. They also have a smaller assembly plant in Arkansas, which is oddly right in the same hometown as Walmart. And Walmart has contracted to buy up to 10,000 of the vehicles. So, it's kind of a coincidence that they're there, I guess.
So in other words, in the near future, I can say, do you canoe? And you can say,
Canoo.
Exactly.
And then you can use the Canoo cologne.
That's what I've
that's the reference to that, but you get
exactly.
Yeah.
And now there are people that are going to go, what? Canoe.
So that's why you need a 3-row in the Volkswagen. Is one for Buzz and his wife, and then a row for Cheech and another row for Chong.
That's it.
And the big bamboo.
And the big bamboo. All right, let's change directions here. Let's talk about charging stations. I've been reading here the past few weeks, since the last time that we talked to you. I think everybody and his mother is now out there building charging stations across the United States with our money. And I worry about that because that some of them are going to make it and some of them aren't. And what are you going to do in that case? But
well, let me stop you right there for just a second.
Yes.
Remember, and there's a great book on this, I think it's called Flattening the World. Remember when the internet was the hot thing to invest in?
Yep.
Tons of companies came online. They installed literally tens of thousands of miles of fiber optic cable because we weren't going to make it with dial-up modems. The internet would not be what it is today without all of that infrastructure being built.
Yep.
A lot of those companies went belly up. And the companies that survived turned around and bought their assets at pennies on the dollar. You and I, because we're ancient, remember long-distance phone calls being I remember even in my professional career being in Germany and calling home, and I was only there a week, and I had $400 in phone bill when I got back because of long-distance costs. Now, I can get tech support from companies, and their tech support is located in India or wherever, and the call is dirt cheap. So yes, they're using our money to build infrastructure that will build a whole new industry for this country to all of our benefit, like the internet is today, and some detriment on the internet side. But we're building an entire new economy right now. And already we're seeing factories being built. We're seeing jobs flow into this country. And the interesting thing is just this morning, I saw an article where Tesla is saying their charging network is going to be generating, I can't remember the exact number, but it was well over $1 billion a year in revenue. So we are building an entire new economy for this country right now. And yeah, we're all chipping in for it because we're all going to benefit.
Like beta recorders and VHS recorders, everybody wound up going to VHS, and now all of these manufacturers are going to the Tesla plug.
I read this week somewhere.
If you've looked at the different plugs, the CCS plug is incredibly large and heavy. And it's what happens when you have a committee design something.
Exactly.
Tesla was a much more elegant solution. And it just is, I mean, in this case, the right brand is going to win. I was a Sony Betamax guy. Beta was technically a superior product.
Correct, yes.
A little more expensive, so we lost. Tesla, in this case, the cars are more expensive, but Tesla won on the charging side.
I read this week somewhere that the EV craze, there's going to be up to the first 1 millionth electric vehicle will be sold very soon. And then on the next article,
in the United States, that's not worldwide. Worldwide,
right in the United States, right. But the next page on that was that Ford just lost hundreds of millions of dollars in their EV program. So there was like a back and forth.
Look at how they lost that money. They're losing that money by building battery plants and building assembly factories. When you amortize that cost over 1 or 2 years of production, oh my God, we're losing so much money. But in the fact, if you don't build that stuff, you don't have the opportunity to make money in the future. So we really need to do a much deeper dive than the headlines give us.
It's almost like R&D, it just in a little bit different form because they've got to have the factory to create the product to sell.
Yeah. And when that F-150 comes out, there's an article, I think it was on Electric just recently. They're coming out with a black matte finished Ford F-150 Lightning that is just badass looking.
There was a guy that drove his F-150 Lightning and abandoned it on the road somewhere because he couldn't find a charger. And he went and bought another car. So I think he bought an ice engine or something.
Yeah, I saw that. But that I would have to do some more reading about that.
Cross Canada tour.
Yeah. What is that? 1 in a million?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But they made such a big deal out of it.
Well, and they did because, and this is what everybody needs to get. And they did the same thing when there were Tesla car fires. Statistically speaking, gasoline cars catch fire much more often than electric vehicles do. But if you want to attract traffic to your magazine, your newspaper, or your website, a story about a gasoline car on fire is no big deal because it's much more common. I personally have seen multiple gasoline car fires in my life. One of them, while it was just sitting in the middle of the night in my neighbor's front driveway. But if a Tesla catches fire, holy cow, that's front page news, and that's right. That's the thing.
I got a calendar.
Advertising
That's it. You got to have the headlines.
Yeah.
So what do you see in the near future in the electric world there, Buzz? What do you see in the electric world here in the near future?
In the near future, the big news is going to be the infrastructure rollout. Texas will, in the very near future, you'll be able to drive from El Paso to Texarkana, from Brownsville to Texline electrically. There will be places like around Big Bend that'll be a little more difficult for a while. There's a lot of hype around what's called V2X, so vehicle to grid, vehicle to house, and even vehicle to vehicle. Believe it or not, Kia and Hyundai vehicles, if they have a friend that runs out of electricity, they can pull up in their vehicle, plug the cars into each other, and charge that stranded car. So I
basically
think that,
jumpstart it.
Pardon me?
Jumpstart it like it would jumpstart an ice engine.
Sort of, but it's much more energy being transferred.
I understand, but yeah.
Now, the hype around that, I think, is a little overhyped, and there are some people that are going to be disappointed. So if I want vehicle to grid, I have to buy a $4,000, or even vehicle to home, a $4,000 charger instead of something that normally is $500 because it includes the gateway that disconnects my house from the grid. So when the grid's down, I don't electrocute somebody out there trying to get the grid going again.
Right.
So. And if I sell in Texas, I can sell my surplus electricity from my solar panels back to the grid, but I only get 3 or 4 cents per kilowatt hour. Right now in California and Texas, there are virtual power plant tests being run. In a virtual power plant, and right now they're only using homes that have Tesla power walls, but you have your electricity being stored, say during night. You might have free nights and weekends. So when it's free, you fill up your Tesla power walls. And then when the grid is under stress, when there's a crisis, the price per kilowatt hour can go from where it retails in Texas at 12.2 cents all the way up to $9 a kilowatt hour. Well, I can sell my energy back to the grid. Now, they limit me to $5 a kilowatt hour, but if I can bring it in at free or 12.2 cents, and then when the grid's under strain, sell it for $5, that's a huge payback on my Tesla Powerwall. And in the future, once the OEMs get on board, our cars will be able to do the same thing. So we'll be able to participate sort of like in an energy stock market, to buy low and sell high. And at the same time, we're helping everyone else by keeping the grid going.
Thanks, ERCOT.
He is the EVangelist, the evangelist.
That's him.
It's Mr. Buzz Smith. And Buzz, it's great talking to you, and thanks so much. I'm thinking professor of electrical cars right here, ladies and gentlemen. Buzz, it's great to talk to you, my friend. You take care.
Love seeing you guys. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, you too. All right.
Thanks, sir.
You're on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. I'd like to thank you for riding with us today, and we'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email. The address is info@inwheeltime.com. Okay, Conrad's got This Week in Auto History.
In 1897, my buddy, Ransom Eli Olds of Lansing, Michigan, founds the Olds Motor Works.
He and I had coffee just early on.
And which later became Oldsmobile Division until 2002 when General Motors canceled Oldsmobile. And do you know Mary Barra makes $20
Let's not get off the subject here, okay?
In 1905, Newell Wright, an attorney, filed to register the Cadillac crest as a trademark. So Cadillac has had the rights to that crest since 1905. The insignia has adorned Cadillac's luxury car for almost a century. And it's gone through some derivatives and stuff, some changes and stuff. The ducks are gone.
Darn it. I like the ducks.
In 1909, in front of some 12,000 spectators, automotive engineer Louis Schweitzer wins the 2-lap, 5-mile inaugural race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So they went twice around, and all these people came to watch.
Oh, God.
Got their money's worth. In 1937, Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts, became the first school to institute graduate study courses in traffic engineering and administration.
So it's all their fault.
Yeah. Everybody talks about what a great school Harvard is. Think about that next time you're stuck in a 610 traffic in front of the Galleria. In 1950,
he's a bitter man.
In 1958, the production of the elegant Packard line came to a halt. Studebaker Packard attributed the decision to lagging luxury car sales, but many Packard fans were disgruntled by the decision, which came shortly after Packard was merged with Studebaker. And the Packard assembly plant in Detroit is still there.
The structure's still there, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just in
they actually use that
shape.
for movies.
As part of a year-long celebration of its 100th anniversary, a redesigned version of the Michelin Man, Bibendum, the corporate symbol of the world's largest tire manufacturer, makes an appearance at the Monterey Historic Automobile Races in Monterey, California. He lost a lot of weight and kind of changed his shape and become less looking like me and more svelte like our Don Armstrong here. You like that svelte?
I like it.
Okay.
That's about all I like.
Can't spell it.
And then in 2004, 83 tow trucks rolled through the streets of Wenatchee, Washington, in an event arranged by the Washington Tow Truck Association, and the Guinness Book of World Records dubbed it the world's largest parade of tow trucks. And they will be at the British car coming up.
Yeah.
When everybody shows up with their British cars.
A couple of stories I wanted to bring to you. UAW members at the Detroit 3 agreed to let the union call a strike if contract talks break down with the September 14th deadline looming. So that would mean that we are 3 weeks away. It's going to happen. Mm-hmm. About 97% of workers who voted cast their ballot in favor of authorizing a strike, the UAW said Friday. The vote is a routine part of contract negotiations and does not necessarily mean a strike will occur. Oh, okay.
Yes,
Of course it does. Nissan North America recalling 236,000 Sentra sedans in the U.S. because the tie rods can bend and break potentially causing a loss of steering control. The recall covers Sentra compact cars from the 2020 to 2022 model years. It expands the June 21 recall that affected nearly 139 Sentras. The left and right tie rods on those vehicles might bend or deform under certain operating conditions, such as a curb impact, according to the recall report submitted last week to NHTSA. So if you drive one of those cars, you might want to call your Nissan dealer. And the nation's top auto safety agency proposed a rule Monday that would require automakers to equip vehicles with seatbelt warning systems for front and rear passenger seats in an effort to establish consistency and improve seatbelt use. NHTSA's proposed rule would amend a federal regulation for occupant crash protection known as Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard number 208, sounds like Barney Fife, which mandates visual and audible alerts to encourage seatbelt use for the driver's seat, but does not require a warning for other seating positions. All right, time now for a quick break, and we will be right back with our next guest coming up in just a couple of minutes here on the In Wheel Time radio program. So stay with us. We'll be right back. The original group of Lupi Tortilla Restaurants will have you telling your family and friends just what the original recipes mean when it comes to the best fajitas in Southeast Texas. Founder Stan Holt invites you to visit the original Lupi Tortilla near I-10 and Highway 6. Here's the original house that inspired the design of all the rest and the original charm that helped make Lupi Tortilla the go-to destination for Houston Tex-Mex. Speaking of original, nothing can compete with the original lime pepper marinade that everyone will agree makes Lupi Tortilla award-winning beef fajitas the best anywhere. Lupi Tortilla Katy is another location that gives you the same quality and service Houstonians have come to expect at Lupi's. It's located just off I-10 and the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard in Katy. Find yourself in Aggieland? Head to the Lupi Tortilla in College Station, located just around the corner from Kyle Field. It's a great place to enjoy those famous frozen margaritas before or after the game. Headed east to Louisiana, stop in at the Lupi Tortilla in Beaumont. It too's on I-10. You can't miss it. The original group of Lupi Tortilla restaurants invites you in for the best Tex-Mex anywhere. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. The award-winning In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise Inn, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In-Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. That's it for this podcast episode of the In-Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music.